Hello and welcome to another session of Groundbreakers Live. I'm your host Javed Mohammed, and we're very honored to have with us Francesco Tisiot, who is an Oracle ACE Director as well as the Analytics Team Leader at Rittman Mead. Francesco, welcome.
Thank you very much, Javed. Nice to be here with you.
Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit off camera. We were actually scheduled to meet in London earlier this year, but because of many things, it didn't happen. But anyway, it's glad to make your acquaintance.
Yeah.
So you are part of the Oracle APAC, virtual tour for 2020, and it looks like you have two presentations. The first one is upgrade to Oracle Analytics Server, why and how. So can you just briefly tell us what that is about?
Okay, the upgrade is a mandatory step, I would say. Mm-hmm. The users in the Oracle Analytics ecosystem have been using a tool called Oracle Business Intelligence, or OBIE, for a long time. Mm-hmm. The last 2 years, we saw a new tool, a rebranding of the existing tool, with a new name called Oracle Analytics Server. Oracle Analytics Server brings to on-premises all the benefits, all the new features, all the new steps, new options that we see in Oracle Analytics Cloud, which is the flagship Oracle Analytics product in the analytics ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So in the talk, I'm basically trying to understand with the users why they should move, what are the benefits, not only feature-wise, but also licensing-wise, mm-hmm. and what are the steps required in order to do the upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I don't want you to obviously enumerate it all, but why would somebody want to migrate?
Well, OBIE, even in the latest version, has still a big feature gap. Not in terms of what we called centralized BI reporting, which was basically when the business user were writing down requirements, handling them to the IT department, mm-hmm. and the IT department was in charge of creating the web content. Now times have changed. Now everything is self-service, so the BI user wants to be empowered to connect to any data source and to create insights out of the data sources. If you do this in the old OBIE, you have, let me say, a limited amount of options. Now with OAS, you have much more. You have a richer experience in exploring data and sharing the data with your colleagues. So this is just one example of why you should migrate.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing. I don't want to spend too much time without, because you have another just as interesting presentation, Become a Data Scientist with Oracle Analytics Cloud. So can you give us a quick overview about that?
Yes, again, this is a presentation about entering this kind of self-service part of the tool. Mm-hmm. And in this case, we are talking about the cloud version, not the on-premise, mm-hmm. because the cloud version always is a step above. It always offers something more than the server version. Mm-hmm. In this case, what we are seeing during the presentation is a typical data science process. What I define are basically 7 steps that any data scientist does when solving a data science problem. Mm-hmm. And what I show to the audience is how you can perform exactly the 7 steps with Oracle Analytics Cloud.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you just outline, and you don't have to go in detail with them, but can you just outline what some of these steps are?
Yeah. The first step, obviously, is to define the goal. There is no general purpose data science, so you have to define the goal. Mm-hmm. The second step is connecting to the data. Mm-hmm. You need to connect to the data, and OAC allows you to connect to almost any kind of data. Okay. The third step is to clean the data, because you cannot expect the data to be perfect. Then you need to transform them, change the shape a little bit. Then it's time to analyze, to check what is relevant and what is not in your data set. Mm-hmm. The next step is basically to train a machine learning model, or more than one, and evaluate the performance of the model. And evaluate one model against the other in order to choose the one that best solves the problem that you have defined in the first step.
Mm-hmm.
The last step is actually, once you choose the machine learning model, do predictions. So you use what you created to actually create insights, create value for your company. And we can see that you can do all these steps without need to code any line. You have a simple GUI that allows you to do everything.
Mm-hmm. So data science is I kind of want to segue into this, this role. Obviously it sounds like it's one of the hot fields that has been here for a short while and certainly projecting into the future. For someone who's considering, obviously you are talking about how Oracle Analytics Cloud can help you kind of get some of those skills. But overall, if you just kind of step back, can you talk a little bit about, what exactly is a data scientist and how do you become good at being one?
Okay, it's a cool question. It's actually the first part of my talk. Mm-hmm. A data scientist is difficult to define a data scientist because we see people at very different levels interacting with data and telling that they are data scientists. In my opinion, a pure data scientist is a person with really high knowledge in, I would say, at least 3 domains. One is a little bit of coding. Mm-hmm. We know that you need, like real data scientists, people that crunch massive amount of data, they usually code in, for example, R and Python. The second is about knowledge about statistic or how to manipulate the data. Mm-hmm. in order to create insights on top of the data. The third one is domain knowledge, because you can be the perfect data scientist on paper, mm-hmm. because you know programming languages and of course statistics, but you need some sort of domain knowledge in order to actually create value for a company. And as you can see, there is a lot of knowledge required. Plus, of course, there is all the theory behind machine learning, which is based on statistics. And there is a lot to know. So we see that there is a lot of research about data scientists in our world. Everybody wants to be and wants to have in the company a data scientist, but the people that can really do the job are just few. So a tool like Oracle Analytics Cloud take data science and brings it to people. Allows you, instead of writing Python and R, to use a simple GUI. Mm-hmm. Instead of like trying to understand which columns are a good predictor for my outcome, the tool itself is proactive. It will tell you, look, that column A, B, and C should be used to create a good model in order to predict the column that you want to guess, basically. So trying to lower the barrier of data science is what Oracle Analytics Cloud is doing.
Great. So basically, just to kind of recap, you mentioned, so the 3 skills for a data scientist are basically coding, statistics, and domain knowledge. The first 2 I understand. The third one, I'm just figuring out, if someone kind of wants to get in there, there's probably like other things in order to get domain knowledge, there's probably, you have to have kind of been in that space for a while in order to be able to make informed decisions about what kind of a model to build. Is that correct?
So there are 2 parts of this. When I say domain knowledge is, you need to understand what your data mean at the basic. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, if you don't have a basic understanding about what the data set is about, mm-hmm. you can draw conclusions which are, I would say, from a domain expert, illogical. I can give you an example. I knew about a problem in data science where people were trying to predict why a box was shutting down unexpectedly. Mm-hmm. And they hired data scientists without domain knowledge. After mm-hmm. working for a while, they said, look, that if this column of this data set is changed at a certain point to 1, that is a good indicator of an unexpected shutdown. And that column, because there was no talks between the business or the business owners and the data scientist, was a flag that was saying that, well, that the router was saying, hey, I'm going to shut down in 5 minutes. So you understand that if you just apply pure like statistical knowledge without any concept of knowing the data set itself,
context,
you can do a pure stylist exercise without giving any insight. On the other side, sometimes you want to have a person that has a completely different background, and you want this person to bring this person in your team because they may have a completely different view on top of your data set. So you still need someone with domain knowledge, but you can have also fresh view on top of your data because someone else didn't have the same experience as you.
Okay. One thing I would like to end this on is, in the past, this has been a physical tour. This time around, it's a virtual tour. So if someone was to be visiting your part of the world, and we were talking off camera, you're based in Verona, Italy. I'm sure there's many things to experience, many foods to try, but if there's one experience you would recommend people to do, what would it be?
Okay, I'm a proud defender of Italian food, and if you check my Twitter, there are a lot of what I call friends that every time they see something wrong with Italian food, they just tag me. What I suggest if you come to Italy is just relax, take your time, sit outside and have a good meal with a good glass of wine. This is the best recommendation that I can give you. It's in Italy, we are known because we do long lunch, long dinner. We just take our time and enjoy, because eating is one of the few things in life that makes you happy every day.
Thank you so much. I look forward to coming to that part of the world and actually trying that slow lunch and slow dinner experience.
Yeah, you will be welcome.
Okay. Francesco, once again, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you, Javed, for having me here. It was really a pleasure also for me.